Good morning, kids. Our subject is science. Are you ready to our lesson for today? If you are ready, you need to listen carefully. Our lesson is all about the places where plants grow. A garden is a place where plants grow. Plants with beautiful flowers and leaves are seen in the garden, and there are different places where plants grow. Some places, like gardens, are made by people, and other places are found in the nature. The plants that grow in a certain place differ from one another. Where do plants grow and live? And what are some examples of plants that grow in each place? Let us see. The place where plants live is called habitat. There are different kinds of plants that grow in a certain habitat. The place where plants grow may be grouped into two. It can be a man-made habitat or a natural habitat. Man-made habitat. A man-made habitat is a place that is made by people for plants to grow. An example of a man-made habitat is a garden. Different flowering plants grow in a garden. Some examples of flowering plants are rose, santan, gumamela, and sunflower. Gardeners are people who take care of plants in the garden. Parks are also man-made habitats for some plants. Trees and other flowering plants are grown in the park to add beauty to it. Some parks have artificial ponds too. Ponds serve as habitat to some water plants like water lily and water hyacinth. A farm is also another man-made habitat. A farm is a place where plants are grown to produce food. Plants that bear fruits are usually found on the farm. Vegetable growing plants are also grown on the farm, and farmers are people who grow and take care of plants on the farm. Now let's have a natural habitat. A natural habitat is any place in nature where plants grow. This place is naturally found in the surroundings and it is not created by people. Let's have the forest. Forest is a natural habitat for tall trees, orchids, and other plants. Plants in the forest receive plenty of water when it rains. Tall trees in the forest get most of the sunlight than small plants. And now let's have the desert. Desert is a natural habitat for plants that grow in hot places with less water. Cactus is an example of a desert plant, and this kind of plant can store water in its stem. This is the reason why cactus can survive in a desert even if there is not much water in it. Now, let's have the grassland. Grassland is a natural habitat for different kinds of grass. Grassland has a huge land where grass can grow. Some grass grows tall while others remain short. Some plants grow in different bodies of water too. Water hyacinth, water lily, and lotus grow in rivers and lakes. There are some kinds of grass that grow under the sea too. To sum up places where plants grow, here are the places where plants grow is called habitat. So we have two, the man-made habitat and natural habitat. So in man-made habitat, we have here garden, park, and farm. While in natural habitat, we have desert, forest, grassland, and lastly, sea, river, or lakes. Now let's have the kinds of plants. The plants vary in many ways. The plants vary by the number of leaves they might have in a group, shape of the leaves are different for different plants. They are different from the leaves of other by shape, texture, margin space, tips, veins, forms, and types, and several other characteristics by which they are identified. So how do plants differ from one another? So there are different kinds of plants, and each kind of plant has special characteristics. First, a tree. A tree is a tall plant with a big and hard main stem called a trunk. Its main stem branches out into smaller woody stems. The small branches of a tree are called twigs. Twigs hold the leaves of a tree. A tree can grow taller and its main stem can expand too. Some trees bear fruits while others do not. So let's have the mango tree, coconut tree, banana tree, and lastly, acacia tree. Unlike other plants, trees grow old. Some trees can live 100 or 1,000 years. A shrub is a woody plant that is shorter than a tree. Unlike a tree, a shrub does not have a trunk. It only has many branches that are growing in different directions. Its branches are thinner compared to the branches of a tree. It is easier to break or cut a branch of a shrub than a tree. Here are some example shrub plants. First, rose, gumamela, santan, and bougainvillea. Not all plants have woody stems. There are plants that have soft stems. An example of this plant is herbs. Herbs are smaller than shrubs and trees. Most herbs grow in pots. Some herbs are a good source of medicine. Most herbs grow in pots, and other herbs are used as ingredients for cooking. This is the reason why some herbs are grown in the kitchen. So here are some examples. first aloe vera, second basil, third oregano, and lastly parsley. And similar to herbs are vines, but unlike herbs, vines are crawling as they grow. This is the reason why vines are also known as creepers. Vine has a special stems called tendrils. Tendrils are curly, soft stem that grows for solid support and holds on it. So let's have examples. We have here ampalaya, grapes, and lastly squash. To sum up the kinds of plants. Each kind of plant has special characteristics. So what are these characteristics of plants? Trees, shrubs, herbs, and vines. So first, let's have the trees. Tall plants with a main stem or trunk. For shrubs, woody plants are smaller than the trees. For herbs, plants with soft stem. And vines, plants with special stems called tendrils. And that is the end of our lesson for today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for listening, kids. Have a good day, everyone. God bless.